Thank you for listening to the show on Really Big Something Channel. September 13th, 2017.
Okay, let me ask you this, Kuhner Country. Do you think the politicians, whether it be here in Massachusetts, let's say Salem as an example, or in Washington, D.C., let's say Paul Rhino Ryan and Mitch McConnell, are they, in your view, underestimating the massive sentiment in this city, in this state, and in this country that is now growing against illegal immigration, sanctuary cities, and the desire to build a wall? What Trump promised he would do, his signature campaign promise. Do you think they are underestimating how much opposition there now is? And I'll tell you why in just a second. But first, my friends, please, a lot of you have already been coming down. I can't thank each and every single one of you enough. We are holding our annual blood drive with the American Red Cross. We are going to be here until 5 p.m. at the Comfort Inn in Randolph, Mass., located on Route 28 off Exit 5 on Route 93. We're going to be broadcasting live on today's show here via remote. After the show, I want to meet some of you, shake your hands, talk to you if you can. I know you're busy, but if you can take time out of your schedule, please come down and give blood. You will probably save somebody's life today. Please, and for all of you that already are here and have already donated blood, thank you so much. Okay, let me make a prediction right now. Salem, Massachusetts is going to be ground zero in this middle American revolt when it comes to illegal immigration that is going to shake Massachusetts and I believe America itself to its very foundation. Because yesterday, the election process is now beginning. Obviously, the big one's going to be in November, but they had a vote on for the city councilor at large. And when you actually look at the numbers, most of the pro-sanctuary city candidates got absolutely destroyed. I mean destroyed. And the anti-sanctuary city candidates, now they divided the vote among themselves. And so in the end, that hurt them. But if you just crunch the numbers, what you can see happening now is that the anti-sanctuary city forces are a majority in Salem, and they're getting bigger and stronger almost by the hour and by the day. And I want everybody to just think about this, okay? Think about this. Salem is a working-class Democratic city. It's a working-class city. It's run historically by Democrats. If Sanctuary City is getting rejected in Salem, or at least we're going to find out officially in November, but if there's such widespread opposition, as the numbers now begin to show, if the liberals are going to lose on this issue in Salem, and the Democrats are going to lose on this issue in Salem, in Massachusetts, the bluest of blue states, the heart of Kennedy country, they've got a big problem. I'm telling you, they've got a big mother problem on their hands. And so we, I believe, are the tip of the spear, and we are at ground zero. And the elites still don't get it. Because if you sit back and look at the election, just objectively, ultimately, why did Trump win? Hillary's now making the rounds with her book and on and on. She's blaming everybody. I swear to you. She's blaming the Russians. She's blaming the Macedonians. She's blaming James Comey. She's blaming Bernie of all. Bernie now is to blame. She's blaming sexism. She's blaming misogyny. She's blaming Biden. She's blaming everybody but herself. Okay? Literally. Everybody but herself. I'll tell you why Trump won. His signature promise of the wall. I know he ran for other reasons. It wasn't the only thing he campaigned on. But if you're thinking about his central plank, his America First agenda, why did Trump win? Because he promised a wall. And the wall means an end to illegal immigration. A wall means finally we're going to secure our porous border and defend our sovereignty and enforce our immigration laws. In other words, get our country back. Well, listen now to this. Unbelievably, in the wake of the miracle of November, in the wake of that political earthquake, there was a private dinner held between Paul Rhino Ryan and senior members of the Republican leadership. And I want to give a big hat tip to Breitbart for breaking this story. And at this private dinner, Rhino Ryan actually tells Republicans, listen to this, there is, quote, only one Republican that supports the wall. In the entire Republican leadership, according to Rhino Ryan, there is only one Republican who he says supports the wall. And as Rhino Ryan is now telling everybody, Trump's not getting his wall. I am not going to fund his wall. We're not going to back it. Mitch McConnell's not going to back it. The Rhinos aren't going to back it. The Republican leadership and establishment aren't going to back it. And he can run on it, and he can campaign on it, and he can win on it until the freaking cows come home. But Rhino Ryan is actually saying, I would rather we lose elections to Democrats than that we build that wall and choke off illegal immigration once and for all. That's the power of the donor class. That's the power of the Chamber of Commerce. That's the power of how much they are bought, like a $10 streetwalker, lock, stock, and barrel. And now, you have people close to Trump who are now mouthing the Ryan line. And in particular, there is a key legislative aide. He's basically Trump's go-between between the Republican Congress, the Democrats, the Republicans, and the White House. So he's Trump's top congressional legislative aide. His name is Mark Short. Well, now listen to this. The whole issue now about DACA. Remember we talked about this last week. Now Mark Short, even though the president says, I want to maybe do a deal on amnesty for DACA, in Congress, a permanent amnesty, but in exchange, I want funding for the wall. I want you to accept the RAISE Act, which would slash legal immigration and really help boost wages for workers in this country. Give me that deal. Mark Short is now negotiating with Republicans and Democrats, and listen to this, okay? You can see he and Rhino Ryan are tag teaming on this issue. According now to Mark Short, he is now telling Democrats and establishment Republicans, I don't want the wall. Don't give me the wall for DACA. Either we'll take an amnesty on DACA as is, no strings attached, no trade, no horse trading, no back and forth. I get something, you get something. Instead, he says, either we do it alone, we pass it, or I want to exchange it for tax cuts. And in particular, pro-business corporate tax cuts that really benefit Wall Street, big business, and the elites. That's your deal? I mean, look, let me be honest with you. You know my position on this. I am against DACA. I'm against amnesty for these so-called dreamers. I think it's a sellout. I think it violates the rule of law. I think it's going to be very bad for this country. But at a minimum, the administration should be dangling this, saying, look, I'm going to make a big concession. Now, you guys got to give me something big in return. And I want that wall. That wall's getting built. And you're going to give me the RAISE Act. And we're finally going to get immigration under control in this country and end this thing once and for all. These guys are now willing to give away the president's leverage either for nothing or for tax cuts. For tax cuts? Are you kidding me? This is a betrayal of the highest order of the president, of his agenda, and of his voters. And now there is a new poll out that says 68% of Republicans believe that Ryan and McConnell must go. That the biggest obstacle to Trump and his agenda, more than even the Democrats, more than even the media, more than even the deep state, are Rhino Ryan and Mitch the Squish McConnell. And so my question to all of you is a very simple one. Is Ryan badly out of touch? Is Mark Short badly out of touch? If they do not build this wall, if they prevent the president from building the wall, do they not realize it will probably cost Trump his re-election in 2020? And do they not realize something else? Think about it. If I'm a Democrat, the one deal I would never make is to build a wall. You can dangle anything in front of me. Forget amnesty for DACA. You can dangle hookers. You can dangle crack cocaine. You can dangle, I'm not kidding, as many trips to Jeff Epstein's island as you possibly want. Whatever. The keys to the Clinton Foundation. Dangle anything you freaking want. They will never give Trump the wall. Why? Because they know that if Trump does not deliver on the wall, his supporters will be profoundly disappointed. They will feel repudiated. They will feel alienated and betrayed, and it will probably cost them election in 2020. So if I'm the president of the United States, I got to start playing hardball. And number one, Ryan is not your friend. He's your enemy. And number two, if you make any deals, you better make sure you get that wall. And if Congress won't give you that wall, here's what the president needs to do. It's already been authorized by Congress, not once but twice. They already have approval for the wall. So the question now is the money. Well, is it not in the national security interests of the United States? Yes. Is it not in the defense interests of the United States? Yes. Take the money from the defense budget. Take the money from Homeland Security. Take the 8, 10, 12, whatever billion dollars you need, and you just appropriate it to building the wall and hasta la vista. And you don't like it, Paul Ryan O'Ryan? I'll see you in court. But what they are doing now is that these political elites, I believe, are now underestimating how popular the wall is and how much opposition there is to illegal immigration and sanctuary cities. Because I'll tell you this, if Salem goes anti-sanctuary city, Salem, and Massachusetts starts turning anti-sanctuary city and anti-illegal immigration, they're all in big trouble. And it's not just Elizabeth Warren, and it's not just Nancy Pelosi, and it's not just Ed Markey, and it's not just Chuck Schumer. It's going to be Ryan, McConnell, and the entire criminal Rhino gang. 617-266-6868 is the number. Let me ask you this. What do you make of the results in Salem's election yesterday? And what do you make of Ryan saying Trump is never going to get his wall? I'm sorry. Did I miss the memo? Did Ryan win the election in November? Or did Trump win the election in November? Is it time for that Judas Republican to go? 617-266-6868. Your calls next. 123 here on the great WRKO. Okay, my friends, we are broadcasting live via remote here at the Comfort Inn in Randolph, Massachusetts, located right off of Route 28. Just get off exit 5 on Route 93. We are with the American Red Cross for our annual blood drive. I will be here really until at least the show ends at 3 o'clock, but we will be open at least until 5 o'clock. Please, if you can, come now, come after work, give blood. It is immensely important. And joining me now, Kelly Eisner. You are with the American Red Cross.
That's right.
And it's a true honor and a pleasure, Kelly.
Oh,
and,
the honor's all mine.
Let me ask you this. In the wake of Hurricane Katrina and Hurricane Irma, people want to give blood. They want to help. What is there a need for blood now in the wake of those two devastating hurricanes?
Well, sure. The need for blood is constant. There is always a need for blood. It's a perishable product, and it's the blood that was already on the shelves that can be available in any time of disaster. Actually, September is National Disaster Preparedness Month, so this is a big message right now. We need to get out there and restock the shelves. When it comes to Hurricane Irma canceled around 80 American Red Cross blood drives in Alabama, Georgia, North Carolina, and South Carolina, which left us with more than 2,100 units of blood that went uncollected, blood and platelets. So what we're asking people to do is, in areas that are not affected by the hurricane, go and help us replenish that national supply. Get out there, roll up a sleeve. Every blood donation that you make helps up to 3 patients.
Oh, really? Up to 3 people?
Up to 3 patients. It has to do with the way the blood, after it's taken, it's divided into 3 separate components: your red blood cells, your plasma, and platelets. Each of those has different medical uses, so 1 unit of blood can go up to 3 people.
Kelly, because, I mean, when I was growing up, I thought, you give blood, it's not that big a deal. But can you just tell people, why is it so important to give blood?
It's so important because it's a perishable product, and again, it doesn't last. It's not like grocery shopping, where you can't go grocery shopping once a year and have food for an entire year. You need to keep going and keep doing it, and we're constantly out there just reminding people that we need a constant and steady national supply. We go through, just like anything in life, we go through ups and downs. Over the summer, we were in an emergency appeal for blood where our supply got significantly lower. Thankfully, we're moving out of that, but there is a constant need for blood.
If I get God forbid, because I'm a little overweight, I'm diabetic, God forbid I get a heart attack or a stroke, will I need blood if there's an operation? In other words, for people out there, you have cancer, you have a heart attack, you have whatever. People need blood to save people's lives, correct?
Absolutely, and it's unlike a lot of the other treatments available at a hospital. It's not something that can be manufactured. Human blood can only come from human blood donations. So if you do need blood, and there's a wide range of circumstances where you might transfusions, surgery, cancer treatments, certain autoimmune disorders. My late father-in-law had an autoimmune disorder, and part of his treatment early on was a plasma. It was a plasma component to the treatments that he had. So, there's a varied wide range of conditions that can.
Am I exaggerating or being inaccurate when I say when people come here today, they are literally potentially saving lives?
Absolutely. We say that, we can't tell the future. We don't have a crystal ball, but we say that you have the potential to save up to 3 lives every time.
That's incredible. That's absolutely incredible. Now, there's something else I found out. Even if you're diabetic, you can give blood. Is that correct?
It's true. People think that there are all these things that preclude them from giving blood, and it's not always the case. We encourage you, the easiest way to find out is to call 1-800-RED CROSS. You can talk to someone who has the medical training to say, oh, well, you've got this, this, and this. Let's talk about this, and they can say, yeah, it looks like you're going to be able to donate, or, oh, I know you thought you couldn't, but it turns out you can. Sometimes you can't, and that's okay too. There's other ways to help, but, and we're very grateful that at each blood drive we have it's sort of the first step in the process. You meet with a health professional, and they're the ones that make the decision day of. So I always say, if you have the time, and even if you don't think you can donate, it's worth coming out and just speaking to someone. The health history doesn't take too long, and you might be surprised.
See, because I'm diabetic, so I thought I couldn't give blood, but they tell me, no, I can give blood. Now, whether people would want, because I'm also originally from Canada, so whether people would want my Canadian diabetic blood, that's something else. Now, hold on, because I have high sugar, if I give blood, is that almost like a natural Red Bull or something? Like somebody gets my bowl and my blood, just I feel high energy today. I don't know why.
I have a feeling your blood is probably a little more high energy than most anyway.
Okay, my friends, please join us. Come down to the Comfort Inn in Randolph, Mass. We're located on Route 28 off Exit 5 on Route 93. It's the WRKO and American Red Cross. We're having our annual blood drive. You just heard Kelly mention it. You can save up to 3 lives. Please, Kuhner Country, let's be generous. Kelly Eisner, Communications Manager at the Red Cross. It was a pleasure talking to you. I'm up against a break, but just very quickly, parting words.
Again, thank you for everyone who's already come out and rolled up a sleeve. And if you can find an hour in your day, I know things are crazy. We need it, and you can help a lot of people.
Kelly, keep up the great work, and God bless you.
Thank you.
617-266-6868. More with your calls next.
WRKO, the voice of Boston.
1:35 here on the great WRKO. We're broadcasting live via remote from the Comfort Inn in Randolph, Mass., located on Route 28, just off of Exit 5 on Route 93. It's WRKO's annual blood drive with the American Red Cross. We're going to be here until 5 p.m. Please, if you can, give blood, be generous, Kuhner Country. Okay, my friends, I have a column up. It is going viral. It is already causing tremendous controversy, debate. It is Bannon versus the Catholic Church. You can read it up on WRKO.com. I urge everybody, please, if you can, read it. Pass it on to your friends, family members. And it goes to the issue that I was discussing before we did our interview with Kelly Eisner, the wonderful woman here at the American Red Cross, which is what you're seeing in Salem last night in the election for city councilor at large, what you're seeing now from Paul Rhino Ryan, who now is claiming in a private dinner Trump will never see his wall, that there is now a dangerous disconnect between the elites of this country who do not see the mounting, rising opposition to illegal immigration and amnesty and really lawlessness. If Salem is turning anti-sanctuary city in a working-class democratic city in one of the most blue states in the country, my friends, I'm telling you, there is a middle American revolution taking place. And Ryan is now telling people that Trump is never going to see that wall, even though he won on that wall, he campaigned on that wall, and the American people overwhelmingly want that wall. And as I point out in my column, it was one of the most difficult columns, I think, to be honest with you, the most difficult column I've ever written in my life. It pained me to write this column. And if you want to know why, just read my column, because I sort of list my family ancestry and how much we sacrificed for Christianity and for the Catholic Church in Eastern Europe for many, many centuries. I never thought I would live to see the day that I would have to take a public stand and rebuke my Pope, Pope Francis and the Holy Father, Cardinal Dolan, the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops. I never thought I would live to see the day that I, a descendant of numerous Catholic martyrs in the Kuhner family, would have to stand here and lecture them about things that they should know about and that they should know what they're talking about. Bannon is right. When Bannon said in that interview with Charlie Rose on 60 Minutes, when he laid out that the church now has an economic interest in illegal immigration, and Dolan shot back, Cardinal Dolan shot back and said, this is so ridiculous and insulting, it's not even worth a rebuttal. It's as plain as the sky is blue. It's as plain as night follows day. The Catholic Church needs illegal immigration. The Catholic Church's lifeline is illegal immigration. The overwhelming majority of illegals come from Mexico and Latin America. They are overwhelmingly Catholic, although there is now growing evangelicals are now growing among them, but still, it's overwhelmingly Catholic and Spanish-speaking. They're filling up the pews. And as they fill up the pews, they give them more money. I mean, it's so obvious. And as I point out in my column, you take away the illegals, the Catholic Church in America. I'm not talking about the church in Eastern Europe or in Africa or in Latin America or in other parts of the world where it's very strong and growing. But in America, it's dying. The native church-going population is graying, aging, and slowly dying. They need illegal immigration. For them to deny it is not just foolish, it's hypocritical. And as I point in my piece, Cardinal Dolan is being disingenuous. because we all know the church now depends on illegal immigration. But let's get to the heart of the matter. As I said, it's now clear under Pope Francis and the Catholic left, now the church hierarchy in America and in the Vatican are now openly saying that good Catholics must embrace illegal immigration and support DACA. And as I point out in my piece, Bannon is completely right. Where in Catholic doctrine does it say that you have to support illegal immigration and amnesty and open borders? It doesn't. Nowhere. Nowhere does it say that. What it does say, and again I point this out in my piece, and that's what's causing a lot of controversy, is it's unequivocal. Church teaching is unequivocal on abortion and same-sex marriage. Abortion, whether you agree or disagree, this is the Catholic Church's position. Abortion is murder, and same-sex marriage is an abomination to the family. How come they never speak out against that? How come I've never heard Pope Francis once or Cardinal Dolan once lecture or denounce Catholic Democrats, I don't know, Jean-Francois Kerry, Joe Biden, Nancy the Piranha Pelosi? How come not once have they been denounced for supporting abortion or same-sex marriage? Not once. But they're lecturing Trump? You have the Pope now on a plane saying that Trump is not truly pro-life because he's against illegal immigration? Are you kidding me? And then I get to the heart of the matter. And now I'm speaking to you not just as an American, but in all candor as an American Catholic. My Pope and the church hierarchy is forcing me and forcing all American Catholics to stand against the law, to stand against the rule of law. You're asking us to openly support law-breaking and criminal behavior. You don't have a right to do that. And their rebuttal always is, well, what would Jesus do? Jesus would feed the hungry. Jesus would clothe the naked. Jesus would give shelter to the homeless. Yes, he would. But he wouldn't be hiding behind 40-foot walls. Jesus, as the Pope does and the Vatican does, Jesus wouldn't lock himself away, safely protected behind high barriers, and allow an onslaught of illegal immigration to take place, whereby millions of illegals have stolen Americans' jobs. Who speaks for them? They have driven down wages through cheap labor for millions of American workers. Who speaks for them? They are crowding our emergency rooms. Who speaks for them? They are lowering the quality of education in all of our classrooms by filling it up with students who can't speak English. Who speaks for them? Never mind, as I say in my piece, they're not all dreamers. Many of them are murderers, rapists, drug traffickers, MS-13 gangbangers. Here, don't take my word for it. Ask Kate Steinley's family. Where's the mercy for them? Where's the compassion for them? Where's the understanding for them? The golden rule says, do unto others as you would have do unto you. Catholic Church is not living by the golden rule. It's not. So don't ask us to give up our lives, our communities, our neighborhoods, our jobs, our wages, our health care, our education. Because as I point out in my piece, Christ was not a crypto-globalist, and he certainly wasn't a hypocrite. In fact, as I point out, and this is the one that has the left going berserk and the Catholic left going absolutely apoplectic. If you go to the Bible itself, God specifically created distinct nations, tribes, and peoples. He did. Because it's part of the natural order. And so when the Pope and Cardinal Dolan when they are peddling this kind of one world liberal multiculturalism of no borders and amnesty and illegal immigration, it's in fact a vision that is profoundly anti-American, it is anti-human, and it's ultimately anti-Christian. And if you think this is harsh, as I point out in my column, and I think this is the intellectual checkmate, heaven itself sets the example. Heaven, God's kingdom, sets the example itself. If you're a Christian, think about it. Because only those that are chosen and invited can enter its pearly gates. Illegals are not allowed. So by the logic of Catholic liberals, by the logic of Dolan, by the logic of the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops, by the logic of the Pope himself, God himself is a nativist. Christ is himself a nativist. They're not just peddling nonsense. They're peddling heresy. 617-266-6868. Lucy in Lowell, Mass. You're up first. Go ahead, Lucy.
Hi.
Hi.
I think it's not a good idea for us to do the same thing that the liberals do and get hysterical about this. The entire talk on the plane with the Pope, he was bombarded with questions, and he said he did not want to talk about it. He did not have all the facts. He did say, if we are pro-life, then we do want to keep families together. That is true. But he said he did not know the law. And he did say nations have a right to protect themselves. So I'm a little bit upset that you are going whole hog against the Catholic Church. I don't care what other liberals say. They have their own shtick. But the Pope was trying to be fair on the plane when he was bombarded. And they kept asking him over and over and over again, excuse me, that was wrong, and I'm a little bit disappointed in you going with this hysteria. As far as Bannon goes, I don't know anything about Bannon. I can't go along with him. We don't know also if the Pope hasn't spoken to some of those liberals who go one way or say one thing and do another. We don't know that. We don't know that at all.
I'm not yelling. I'm not screaming. There's nothing hysterical about anything I've said.
Well,
I disagree. I disagree with the Pope.
Okay.
I disagree with Cardinal Dolan. Dolan has come out and said that
we
it
were
is the
talking
duty.
about the Pope. I was talking about the Pope.
I know. I'll get to the Pope in a second. Cardinal Dolan himself, the Archbishop, has said that good Catholics must support DACA. The Pope himself has openly said Catholics must support and embrace illegal immigrants. He's openly said that. He also, by the way, on that same plane, I don't know if you saw this, he also took a shot at climate change deniers. People that deny man-made climate change, and when asked specifically, this is the part that I found really disgusting, when asked specifically, well, why are they opposed to climate change, he cites scripture from the Old Testament which says man is stupid. So he's calling his critics stupid. Now, that's not papal. That's not, to me, commensurate with what a pope should be saying. No, look, Lucy, I think the fact is clear on this. Pope Francis is a man of the left. He is somebody who is a Peronist. He comes from the Argentinian left. He is pro-open borders. He is pro-Muslim refugee resettlement. He is pro-amnesty. And he's pro-illegal immigration. And he has given the church hierarchy its direct orders. I want you to toe the line on DACA. And what I'm telling him, and what I'm telling all the Catholic liberals, is this is heresy. You're wrong. There's nowhere in Catholic scripture or doctrine that justifies this. Now, you may be angry at me, but read my column and tell me where I'm wrong. And I'm telling you, the problem is you can't. Because on this issue, I'm right and the Pope is wrong. Or to be more specifically, Bannon is right, and I'm referencing his interview in 60 Minutes, and the Pope is wrong. He is the Obama of the Catholic Church. The sooner he goes, the better. Mike in Newton, you're up next. Go ahead, Mike.
Jeff, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Jeff, first of all, I've always criticized you in the past. You and I've had a go back and forth about the Catholic Church, who I was a member of Maybe not in good standing, but I was. But for you to write that column, I haven't read it yet, but I get the gist. It takes courage, number one.
Oh, thank you, Mike.
As you heard Lucy. And Lucy, I don't mean anything derogatory toward you personally, but I guarantee you voted for these liberal Democrats, the Kennedys, the Markeys, and all these other diabolical hypocrites, these Irish Catholic politicians. I guarantee you voted for them, Lucy. But you know what they support? Abortion on demand. One of the most, the most serious sin in the Catholic faith, as far as I know. But Jeff, let me just say this. What does the Pope know about a father or a mother that tucks their baby in bed at night with 105 temperature, and they have nowhere to go? What do they know about that? These men that never had family, or a family that is struggling to get school clothing for their children and books so they can go to school without being ridiculed. What do these men, these mortal men, know about really heartache and sadness with families and people? I get sick and tired of this guy. You call him the Pope, I call him just a man. And as far as I'm concerned, I pray to God that you, Jeff, and so many more of the people that I admire come to the conclusion someday that I am right, that the only way is to believe that the Lord Jesus Christ is our Savior, and I'm a sinner, I'm a very bad sinner, but the only way out, when we go feet first, is for our Lord Jesus Christ. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Mike. Well, I mean, as a Catholic, I do believe that. I mean, I don't disagree with that. But no, look, to me, my position on Francis is very simple. I think he's trying to liberalize the church. I think he's trying to take it clearly in a left-wing direction. I think there's no question about that. And I think he's committing now serious mistakes and I think serious sins in the process. And he's also purging, by the way, a lot of the conservatives and traditionalists out of the church. So this is not the church anymore of John Paul II or John Paul the Great, Saint John Paul, or the Church of Benedict. And now look, as for, I guess him not being married or whatever, see, I've never bought that argument, Mike, because that's like a doctor saying, well, you can't treat somebody with cancer because you've never had cancer. So the fact that the Pope doesn't have a wife or doesn't have children, that to me is not the issue. The issue with me with this Pope is that he's putting his liberalism above his Catholicism. And that applies the same to Dolan, frankly, and the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops. Just my opinion. You can agree to disagree. Steve in Burlington. Go ahead, Steve.
I listen to you daily. I agree with you 100%. You're right on the money. I'm not pushing my own buttons or anything, but except for the days that I have to be at work early in the morning, I'm a daily communicant. What you're saying is 100% spot on. A few things need to be pointed out here. Number one, the church has paid out almost $3 billion. That's in this country, just on the priest scandal alone.
Yes.
So
yes.
They need money just to make up for that. A lot of that nonsense that came to light with people like Father Shanley still goes on today. If you know the right priest to talk to, they will tell you it's still an issue in the church. So just for that alone, they need money.
Steve, Steve, I want to thank you for the courage to call this show and make this point. And I know it must be very hard for you as essentially a daily mass goer, okay?
Yeah,
and I honestly, God bless you, because you are 1,000% correct.
Yeah.
The church, the sex abuse scandal has bankrupted the church here in America. They've got payment after payment and lawsuit after lawsuit that they've had to settle. And let me be honest with all of you. You want to know why I love Benedict? Because he was cleaning all of these priests out. He hated these priests, these pedophile priests, and he was going after every single one of them. And now they have put the church in such a financial hole. They need the illegal immigrants because they need the money. And as the Bible says, the love of money is the root of all evil. I gotta go. Coming up next, a judge gets suspended for wearing a Make America Great Again cap. What the hell is going on here?
The voice of Boston is you. 680 WRKO Boston, 93.7 WEEI HD2 Lawrence, Boston. It's 2 o'clock.